This conference will now be recorded.
All right, beautiful. So as always, everything that we're going to be talking about today is for educational purposes only. Nothing is intended as any type of investment advice. So Twitter. So overall, we have phenomenal buying. Okay, absolutely phenomenal buying. Let's talk about a few different aspects of what we have going on in Twitter right now. So if we look over here, you can see from back, right before September and coming into September, basically right around that 3650 area, we have a lot of congestion within this within this resistance point that we see sitting right there. Do I think that it's going to hold that? I'm going to give you my opinion. I absolutely, in no way, based off the amount of buying that we've seen coming into Twitter, do I think that it's going to hold past there. And I said this before, but one of the cool things, if you look at the daily chart right now, it's not letting me go all the way back. But either way, one of the cool things is if you look, we have this gap that's sitting right here up to about 42, a little bit lower than that. So let's just say 41, right in that number. We'll make it a lower point. All right. When we get past there, 41 is not going to be a hard spot to get to. And the amount of buying we're seeing, we're not seeing buying that's showing us that the stock is going to move as a day trade. Okay, it's going to move, $1.50, or it's not showing us that we're getting longer term. I'm getting into a big position in Twitter, which is a phenomenal thing to see. But we have to remember, when we have that much buying, what ends up happening is we get that much of a pullback. Because remember, tip of the iceberg, as much as we see, that's barely what's actually happening and going on out there. So we have beautiful prints that came in at 34.50 on the bid side. Okay, I am expecting this stock to pull back further underneath those 34.50 bid prints before I expect the stock to break up above that 35 and really start to go. All right. But overall, so my short term is we need to pull back underneath those 34.50 bid prints that we saw when we came in on this first move right before 11:30. And overall, I'm expecting us to end up filling in this gap based off the amount of buying that we have. So what do you want to do? If you're trading day trading, well, guess what? You do exactly the same thing that you're doing. But if you're looking for an entry on a longer term side of things, that's what you're going to have to follow. Make sure those 34.50 bid prints are satisfied first, because that person selling into it is telling us that essentially that they think, that they're riding a bigger pullback down. But once we get, to a point where we stop seeing that new selling coming back in, I am expecting a really nice move out of this. Next one looking at is Facebook. So Facebook, it ended up coming back in, and unfortunately, 150 didn't really give us anything that was that special. I went to lunch probably about 12:20, 12:15, somewhere in that area. And I was really disappointed in the amount of selling that we saw coming down into this move. But on the way back up, it's not like we've got anything that's that great, but it's certainly showing us that we do have more buying that's sitting up at top. So it's a little bit mixed as of right this second. If you're looking for a longer term side of things, I don't really see the prints there. I haven't seen anything that shows me longer term really where it's expecting to go. And then on the day trade, we should certainly, coming up to this 153 level, we're a little bit at a resistance right before it. You can see this red line that's sitting there, but that 153 is going to give us an idea of exactly where it's going to be going within the shorter term coming into the afternoon. Now T's another one that we were talking about earlier today. Let me just write down Facebook, Twitter, but hopefully everyone knows that already. T, I told you, it's just there was too much buying coming into this. When I say too much buying, I don't mean too much buying overall, because overall we had phenomenal selling on this thing's way down. But the thing about it is, when you get huge amounts of selling, you end up getting bigger pullbacks. And not only because of that much selling should we be getting a big pullback, but if you recall from yesterday and today, we had some really good prints that came in at this 30.50. Okay, you can see right now 30.86, 30.85, excuse me, to 30.88. To be completely honest with you, I'm expecting this to pull up above 31 now. Okay, 31 is no longer the price point that I'm expecting based off of how much we've seen there. I am expecting it to pull up above 31 before we're going to end up getting that staircase movement down here within T. I want you guys to think about something too that trade longer term prints. Do you know when most of the people that are trading overnight trades take their positions? Does anyone know the answer to that? When do most people that are holding positions overnight actually take their entries? Yeah, pretty much through the 3:45 to pretty much to 4 o'clock. Okay, 350 essentially is, and this is what, whatever, 350 is really the time frame. So between 350 and 355 is real, but 345, that's still, still a good point. The only thing about 345 is that most day traders are going to be getting out around, right by 350 in that area. So when you see something come in at 345, a lot of the times it could still be day traders that are getting out of their positions for the night. So after 350, so when we talked about yesterday in our traders exchange, looking for that trigger point in T, the best time to look for it's going to be either if something's so blatantly obvious during the day itself. Okay, so we just got some great stuff that I'll get back to, but it's going to be towards the end of the day. Remember, if you take a trade base and you're not day trading and you take a trade in the morning, there's a lot of stuff that can happen. From 350 to 4 o'clock, is there really that much that can happen? So just kind of keep that in mind when you're looking for these, for these entry points within these trades, especially when you're looking to use some type of trigger off of that daily chart like we talked about yesterday. Now, next thing I just want to go back to is Facebook. So Facebook just gave us, our show of hand right here. Look at 153. So we got beautiful prints, 153 on the ask, and expect this thing to pull back down before we end up going above 153. I can say that clearly now based off of that happening. I couldn't really say that before. So T, like I said, T, I'm still expecting it to go up more before we end up getting that staircase and that trigger back down. That's going to really bring us underneath where we have all that selling down here. Next thing looking at is IQ. Now, IQ, very interestingly, has a lot of prints that I've seen come in at 20 on the bid. We had some good prints that came in. I think it was 1950. Coming back down, but this is one of 3 or 4 times now that I've seen some really big prints come in on that 20 on that ask side. Is there anything I'm going to trade with it right now? No. Not in the afternoon. If you're looking for something a little bit longer term, you might want to keep that in mind. I personally, it's just not really a day trade. You can see it's not moving enough. It doesn't have enough range. It's very consolidated within its trading. Its volume is very sporadic, so not one of the best day trades out there. TLRY, I want to talk about for a second. Looks like my TradeStation came back. It's good. So TLRY, this was just a phenomenal call. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't do anything with it because if you look, the volume absolutely disgusting. But you have to remember those prints that we had yesterday at 95. We already got our pullback from yesterday. There was no way that this thing wasn't getting up. And I know my price target was 100, and it went up to 102, almost a little bit under 102. But I didn't see anything great that came back up there. And one of the big reasons probably is because there's not any real volume being traded. But I know a lot of you made some good money on that. So that was an excellent trade that you guys had. And moving along, let's take a look at our scanners. Hopefully it's going to stay with it working a little well. Though one thing I do want to look at real quick, and I know I put this up, it's a little bit too quanty for me, but it is getting some really good volume starting to push into it. I'm going to put AZS on our side list. I don't see anything that really excites me that much, but at the same time, it certainly has some the ability, especially coming up to this double top. If the volume really starts to go, we could see a few cents coming back into this. This is just on my side list. It's probably not something I'm going to end up trading, but certainly something that we want to keep an eye on. All right, let's go down our list. So we have SBBP, 9.4 million shares, but absolute garbage, just nothing really there. And the rest of it, I don't see anything I really care about, to be honest. Usually 1 million, 2 million shares, that's just not going to do it for us to really get any type of movement coming into the afternoon. IGT, $100.53 on average moves 82 cents. Today, it is not really that high over average. Don't really care about it, not much. And as I'm talking, AZS is breaking out on some real big volume and beautiful buying at 20. So it's kind of making me eat. It must have heard me. It's making me eat my words of, well, we knew, it had the criteria, but if we come back over here and if you look, that's some beautiful buying that just came in at that 220 level. We have beautiful volume that pushed that thing back up. So certainly something for us to be looking at. Moving over to our losers side of things, let's take a look. Now, MDR wouldn't pop up before, but here we go. Now, so it's on a pretty steady day decline. Now, you're probably going to have a hard time getting any type of shares. I haven't really looked at it at all, and it doesn't look like there's any prints there for us to go on. You know what? The volume's just a little too sporadic for me. Yeah. See, I see how we come back down into these little dips, and then it stops trading. It's just not something that I have any type of interest in, especially when we have, some better, not really that much better stocks, but we have some better things that we were looking at out there. And let's look at CBL, 5.7 million, which is enough, but complete quant trade, so nothing really going on there. So AMD, we knew based off of the selling that we had before, we were going to be looking for it to pull up. I know Nitesh had said to at least 18, but unfortunately, I did not see what happens with 18. I haven't really been following this one too much today because it's just a very quanty stock. This morning I did. It had beautiful selling coming down, and then had really great selling coming down into that 1725, and it never really pulled back fully. So that's kind of what it looks like, the just kind of following the market back towards that upside. But I'm going to have to look more into what it's seeing, because as of right now, what it's showing, I just don't see really much of any type of room. The volume's actually pretty decent, so it still does have some room left in its range. You can see $1.58 and $1.22, but I don't have anything definitive. And as you guys know, if I don't know exactly what's going to happen, I'm not going to give you any type of opinion on that. So it is a slow afternoon. Today was kind of a slow day. I know, TradeStation was a little bit, once again, their data has just been kind of on and off. I know it'll be fixed soon, but let's keep our eyes out there for anything else that kind of gives us an idea of, of being able to really, to move a little bit more. I don't see much. I mean, most of everything that we're looking at right now is trading pretty consolidated. Facebook and those 153 prints are probably my favorite thing that I see out there. Besides the fact that Twitter has those prints at 34.50. And then the only other thing is ACB. I know a few of you took this yesterday when I told you my price target was 650. It's up higher. I haven't really been looking at it too much because you could see, once again, just trading a lot like a quant stock. So nothing going on there that's really too great, but it might be something that you want to continue to keep an eye on, because it keeps showing signs of wanting to, signs of new buying, and new buying tells us that the stock is going to continue back up. All right, guys, anything else out there that I missed? Think that is about it. So like I said, kind of a slow day. We got some great moves, don't get me wrong, but overall kind of a slow day. So just keep that in mind as we come into the afternoon. Don't try to force anything. Don't try to rush anything. Let the stocks do exactly what they tell you they're going to do, and then go from there. All right, guys, I'll talk to everyone in the chat room, and happy trading.